I am Grace Taylor Siegel, and I'd like to welcome you back for another tutorial in the 24-hour, 24-day image creation marathon brought to you by Instagraphics, where I teach you how to create standout images quickly and easily on your iPhone, iPad, or computer. Again, I'm your host, Grace Taylor Siegel, and I want to thank you for being here. I know you could be 1,000 other places, and I'm just really honored that you've taken the time to watch my video, and I'll do my best to teach you something that is very valuable to you. Let's have some fun today. We're going to be looking at an app called Fuzel Collage, and this is the image that I posted for the collage. There's so many of these framing apps, and we already looked at one of them that I really like called Moldive, and this is another one. It's kind of interesting. While I was getting ready for this video, I had already made the images. I was in there and I discovered some other things, some really interesting things that this app does, and I'm going to show them to you. So it was sort of on the fly. But this was the image that I started out with, and it's very easy to put together. And what really appealed to me, sort of like in Moldive, is this app has some interesting artwork that I think really enhances. And you can see I pretty much went plain here, but that label in the center of the image, I just think that is really eye-catching. And what it says, just real quickly, Lady Boss meetup at Kimra's. In a previous video, I mentioned that I'd recently been to Kimra Luna's house in Riverside. She is a relatively new but extremely successful entrepreneur, and she's very generous, and she likes to share her experiences and recommendations with people and let them network together. And there were 50 people at her home. So anyway, I had these images in my phone. It kind of depends on what I'm doing recently, what images I make. When I was at Creative Live, I had a ton of images of Sue Zimmerman. When I went to Social Media Marketing World last year, of course, I had lots of images of lots of different people. And I like to use what's in my phone because, that's what I've been doing. And in this case, I was just at Kimra's last month. So that is why she is so front and center in my marathon. Well, let's take a look at this app so I can show you how I created this. And fuse out. There it is. Now I want to mention, as I always do, all the apps I'm demonstrating are for the iPhone, and most work on the iPad too. They're available in the Apple App Store, and I will incorporate information a little later on for the Android users out there. But for now, I'm focusing on the apps and programs for the Apple devices. And one other thing, I just want to remind you, because of the way I'm recording these videos, you aren't able to see my fingers touching the screen of the iPhone. You can only see the actions that result from that. Now, I'm going to add some callouts to the final video, which is the one you're seeing now. And a callout, it's kind of like a pointer on the screen to show you where I'm touching or to call your attention to a certain part of the screen. And I'll also try to explain what I'm doing. But please keep in mind that it's my fingers touching the screen of the phone that makes everything happen. And that's the way it will work for you too. You'll touch the screen. I'm sure you're familiar with this, but I just want to make it clear. Okay, here's the app, and you can see that both of the images that I created already are in there, but I want to show you how to do it. So I'm going to press the plus button. And one thing that I noticed about this, unless I'm missing it, see when I go to albums, I don't get all my albums. I'm sure I could create one, but I have to go through my camera roll, so I can't use my favorites. Not my most, not my favorite thing about this app, but there's some other really great things that kind of make up for it. So scrolling to try to find my original photos of the Lady Boss meetup. You can see all my silly pictures and my notes that I take pictures of. Okay, here we are. And I'm just going to select all, well, most of the photos, right? So that's 5 photos. That's what I used in my original image that I created, my original collage. So I'm going to press, you can see I selected these just by touching them. You've got a pink circle with a check mark on the 5 that I selected, and then I'm going to press the next button in the upper right hand corner. Here we go. Now it's processing the images, and you've got some choices. You see it's giving you quite a few choices, and you can slide. I'm sliding my finger up to look at all of the different choices. Some are much more attractive than others, but keep in mind you can change these photos around. You can zoom, you can slide around, and I'll show you that in just a second. So there's simple, there's funky, see at the bottom, simple, funky. Funky's a little funky. I actually like some of them. Freeform, which is in the bottom, the next one. You know, a little out there. Something different though, definitely. So lots and lots of choices. I'm going to go back to simple because that's what I used, and I don't think it's showing the exact one that I used, but I'm going to go with this top one. And I'm going to take my fingers and I'm going to spread them apart to zoom in on this photo. Same thing over here in the upper right hand side. I want to zoom up on that. It's more interesting that way. This one, that's fine, I think, as it is. This one, I don't need the wall in there, so I'm going to zoom up so we can just see people. Now, this is the simplest form of what this thing does. So I'm just going to go over here to the, I didn't mean to go there. You can see there's different frames that you can use. Actually, let's go in there. Different frames that you can use. Some are free. Some you have to pay for. Now I want to show you. Oh, we're back. Okay, if you go into the frames, the bottom center, see how some of them are unhighlighted and some of them highlighted in orange, and they cost credits. I believe the credits, I think you get like 699 credits for $6.99. So you do the math, but it's not cheap to own everything that's in here. That's for sure. Some apps you can pay $2.99 or $3.99 and you get everything that's in there. This app nickel and dimes you a little bit, and it's worth it. You don't have to buy these things. There's plenty of things, but you see, look, even the ones that aren't highlighted in orange, they all take credits. So you would have to have credits to get most of these. Let's go see if there are any now. I bought the postal ones, so those probably would not be available. I don't want this anyway. Makes it look like a stamp. So as far as I can tell in here, it looks like all of the frames you have to pay more for. So that's a strike against the app. There should be some that are free. Maybe I'm overlooking them, but I mean, you're going through this with me. You can see. I didn't use a frame on my original version, and you don't need to use a frame. So I want to go to the left. I want to back up just a bit because these photos look, it put a frame on there. Okay. Yeah, it's got like a postage stamp kind of thing on there. Oh, look, I'm glad we came back. Free frames. There we go. And they do have a few. Look. Oh, there's quite a few. I don't want a frame. So I'm going to go to the plain and simple one that I started with. And I'm going to add a label. And there are free labels. Let's find them. Free labels. And I chose this cute and funny one right there. And I wrote Lady Boss Meetup at Kimra's. I'm going to apply that, and that's exactly where I had it. And this is slightly different than my other app, but I'm not going to sweat it. It's close enough. I think I'm going to bring this photo down a little bit so her head isn't hidden, but I'm going to be done with this because I want to show you one other thing this app does it's pretty cool. I mean, I like it. I like it a lot. Now, here we go. I saved it. The share button pops up, and you know what I'm going to do. If you've watched the other videos, I'm going to save it to my device, and I'm going to figure out where I want to post it later. Sometimes I want to do it right away, but I have a strategy with my posting. So I like to put it in a scheduling app and do it that way. So I'm going to close this, and I'm going to start all over by, I do not want to do that right now. I'm going to start all over by pressing the center white button with the pink plus in the middle. And I'm going to go back where I started, way down. Let's find a Lady Boss Meetup again. All right, Lady Bosses. There you are. All right, so we're going to choose the same photos. I'm just touching them with my finger and bringing them up. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I chose one extra one. That's fine. It tells me at the bottom right, see how it tells me how many that I selected. Now I'm going to hit next, upper right hand corner. It's going to do its thing. I'm not going to make, let's see, I'm going to make the slightest, I'm going to select this layout. And I'm going to change this a little bit because you can see it's cutting one or the other of the ladies out. So I'm going to choose one of the ladies. Zoom this up. Now what I'm doing is I'm spreading my fingers as I'm touching the screen, and it's blowing it up. And in this one, let's bring this up so that it's more interesting. This one too. Look, it's two of the same photos. But we're not going to sweat that because it doesn't really matter. For demonstration purposes. Alrighty, so here's the thing that I want to show you that's kind of cool. So if you go to Effects, So I'm going to choose the photos from the Lady Boss Meetup again. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to press next in the upper right hand corner. It's going to do its thing. And then instead, see the options at the bottom where they're simple, funky, freeform. I'm not going to choose those. I'm going to choose the furthest one on the left, animated. Choose that. And you can see there's a little camera. See that little camera in the upper right hand corner of that image? Now I could go down and now I could choose a different layout. I'm going to go with this top one. I'm going to press next. And you can add some music because this is going to animate these photos. And I think, yep, I can blow them up. So I'll blow this up a bit. A little more interesting. This one is just not, but you're going to see it doesn't matter that this one right above camera, it's, maybe I'll widen it out so the walls don't show. Alright, so now I'm going to add some music, and you can go to your iTunes. I do sometimes do that with Flipagram because Flipagram will give the credit to the artist and you're less likely to get the copyright infringement warning, which I've never received and I've never heard of anybody who's received it, but you have to take your image down immediately and you risk getting your account shut down on whatever social media option that you're using at that time. Instagram seems to be a little more liberal, but Facebook is very, very strict, so keep that in mind. I'm going to use the open rights music that they've put in here. So I chose Quirky, and I know from before when I tried it out that this works perfect. And we can take a look at it right now. Look, I'm going to press play. So that's pretty cute. I really like that. I'm not really happy about the zooming on. Now it's not going to let me. Let's press apply, and now I can zoom up. We'll zoom on other gal, and then we'll zoom this up. Let's try it one more time and see what happens. There we go. So I'm going to move this one down a bit and hopefully it won't go for their legs. But I think that's great. Now, see where it says watermark in the center? And the watermark obviously on there is the @Fuzel app. I wouldn't mind having something like that because if I've used an app, I want people to know which app I've used so that they can use it too, particularly in the line of work that I am in. But let's choose that watermark just to see what happens in the center of the screen at the bottom. And my watermark will be instagraphics.biz. That's my website address. And look, except I misspelled it. Come back. Oh, great. It's fun watching me type, isn't it? I'll bet it's your favorite part of the video. Thank you for bearing with me. Alrighty, so there it is, instagraphics.biz. Man, when we play it, let's see one more time what it looks like. Better. Cute. I like it. I do want to mention that you pay for that watermark change. If you want to put your own watermark in there, you have to pay for it. And you can buy credits, but I'm not sure what the denomination is. We'll see if we can take a look at that. Well, I finalized that. I pressed done, and now I can save it to my device. I can share it directly to Instagram, Facebook, email, or Tumblr. I'm going to save it to my device. And you see at the bottom, you can duplicate your projects. And you can edit this as well, and you can delete it. See the three icons on the bottom? The left delete, or excuse me, the left edit, the middle one duplicate, and the right one delete. So we're going to close. And see, they sell these different enhancements. They have many, many in-app purchases. If you join their website or their I guess you could call it a club, you can get some free points, and the average points for every group of frames or images seems to be 49. You know, and I think that's a lot, but I just think this app has a lot to offer without paying for anything. So that's why I included it. It costs $0. It's free in the App Store, so that makes, you know, the in-app purchases a little more palatable. And it's got a lot of options, hundreds of auto-generated templates. The animated collage that I just made, that's also a template style. It didn't used to be. And there's effects, elements, patterns, labels, frames. Really something, as I said, all of these apps will help you to stand out if you want to add them. And 24 is a lot. If you could just get 6 or so, a half a dozen apps that you really like, especially if they're somewhat multifaceted, not all of them, you know I like the one-trick ponies very much, but if you had maybe 2 or 3 full featured apps, and then 4 apps that are just good at one thing, so you're very comfortable at that, you know, you would really have all that you need to have a visual content creation factory. And when you're standing in line in the grocery store, or you're waiting for the movie to start, or you're waiting at the ball game, you can just get on your phone and create some content, keep it in your library, and schedule it out, or put it right up based on, you know, what's going on around you. Both things are very valuable, and they will keep that content flowing out, which is what most of us are trying to do for our businesses to be effective and market consistently on our social media and our blogs and that kind of thing. So anyway, now you've gotten an idea of what Fuzel Collage is all about. I hope you kind of know your way around and have an idea of the potential of this app. And I'd love to see your creations. The best way to connect with me is to go to my website, instagraphics.biz, and sign up for my email list. You get a free list of my top 6 favorite apps, and you can join my Facebook group. I go in there to talk about the images and the apps, and just graphic design and photography and social media management, all of those things. They're all kind of related. The link is at instagraphics.biz/marathon. That's the marathon page on my website. And so if you go there, all the details are there. If you sign up for my list, I'll send them to you in an email. And I want you to sign up somewhere, because I'm going to be running a contest, and the prize is every app in the marathon. So 24 apps is what you would be winning, and I don't want you to miss out on that. So I'll be sending those details out in the next few days. And like I said, sign up somewhere so you can get in on that. Also, if you could, like my page on Facebook, it's Instagraphics, and join my Facebook group. And if you could like this video, that would be really wonderful. I would really appreciate it. Thank you again for being here. This has been fun, and I just can't wait to see you tomorrow when we're going to look at app number 10, and that is called Little Moments. So show up here tomorrow, same time, same place, and you make it a great day.